Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to a brand new series that I am very excited for. What we have here is Project Ozone 3 running in Kappa Mode. So Kappa Mode is the newly released, I guess let's call it the hard mode for the pack. It forces a certain progression path, makes you use all the mods. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Alright, here we are. So here we are. So my server's been running for, if you see, I can't quite show you, but up there in the upper left, about a day. I think it's about like half an hour real lifetime. But all I've done so far is log in and make sure that the server works. So here we go. Let's see what we start with. Open Computers Manual. We can throw that over the edge. Better Questing Book, which I think has a keybind, so we can throw that over the edge. And we start with an ability. This is a cute thing that this mod pack has. It just gives you special, I guess, abilities. So this is Slowness. My favorite ability to start with is Magnetic, but beggars can't be choosers. And Alexa Companion, cool. Alright, so as you can see here, we start on an island in the middle of the void. So this, you might have guessed it, is a Skyblock pack. It doesn't have to be played in Skyblock mode, but I think I enjoy it in Skyblock mode more. We start in a Darklands biome, which I guess is fine. So, alright, let's open the quest book. So, random acts of kindness. To explain the way this works, in this pack, instead of quests give you loot boxes, they reward these racks. I think that's what they're called, racks. And that's basically, they're like Omnicoins in OmniFactor, right? They're just a currency that you can use in the quest book to buy items. So let's see, where is it? Here is the reward store. So I mentioned I want Magnetize. Well, that costs 5 rack, and I have 5 rack, so I can buy it. Neat. So the way these abilities work is they take EXP to activate, but you can get all the EXP back by putting them into this ability bottle. So there we go. Now I have Magnetize, which just means that if I break a block, it'll be sucked to me from a little further than normal. If I'm not holding shift. Anyways, back to the quest book. Alright, so we got started. Normally in this sky block, you have to go break one of those blocks to get your first tree, but I guess the quest starts us with the oak sapling. So let's grow it. Looks like we can tap shift, the torque to grow tree. Might only work during daytime. Nope, here's our tree, and I believe we also have vein miner. Although it might require a tool. Let's nope, this was a little laggy. So we have vein miner without tools, which is nice. Makes growing these trees a little easier. Because I think one of our first quests is to gather some wood. I'm sure you're all super annoyed at my very loud keyboard. So yeah, with Magnetize, you can see, well, some of it still falls off the edge. But we lose less stuff over the edge in the early stages. Alright, so we need some apples and a crook. I can do that. Oh dear. Each wood only makes 1 plank. Well, we'll have to be growing a lot of trees, I guess. We do have crafting stations. That's nice. Alright, so I'm going to go grow these trees a couple more times. And I'll be back once I've gathered up enough apples and whatever to complete that quest. Alright, I expanded our platform out a little bit more to hopefully catch more of the saplings and drops from the trees, but I think we're ready to complete that quest. So a crook is just another, it's like a axe, I guess, but I think when you use it on leaves, you can get silkworms. Look at that, we have some silkworms. So we can use that to get string later. But let's move on. Let's actually make a furnace as well. So because I'm playing this in Skyblock mode, there's a cute way to get rocks, where if you just shift right click on dirt or grass, I think. Yeah, it can be dirt or grass. You get these pebbles, and you get 1 per right click, so it doesn't take a long time. And then once you get them, you can craft them to make cobblestone. Cool, and that gets us to the Stone Age. So I think this wants us to get a stack of cobble and some furnace. So I'll save you the time of watching me right click for a minute or two. Actually, I changed my mind. You're going to have to watch me right click because I think now is a good time to talk about why I actually like this pack. So, unlike what I'm doing right now, I feel like most of the pack is not very grindy. You don't spend a long time, right clicking these, like right clicking the dirt or right clicking sifters later. Much of that is automatable. But at the same time, it's not a pack that is over the top on automation, kind of like Omnifactory is. You get to do more than sit in your base and build your assembly lines, which I think is also nice. This pack uses a rather large number of tech and magic mods somewhere along its progression. So we'll be seeing basically all the large non-Greg tech mods, as well as a lot of magic mods of varying quality. I think some are very high quality mods like Botania, and there's some that I like a little bit less, but we'll deal with that problem when we get there. And I'll explain it more once we're actually doing some of those mods. But for now, I think we have enough cobblestone. So let's see. Let's make our cobble. And I hope a furnace is not made from compressed cobble. That would make me unhappy. I think I'm about to be unhappy. This is one of those things that I dislike when packs do, because what value does it add? But, it's a small enough deal that I'll just deal with it. Also, I hate how better questing doesn't detect things if you don't hit the detect button sometimes, so we're back to right clicking. Anyways, now that I've talked about how this mod isn't grindy and you get to watch me grind out stones, part of it is that this is just the very beginning, but we'll get automation options that'll, automate the making of cobblestone and the sifting of resources as we go. For now, this is just what we have to put up with. So, yeah, I think I ran out of things to say, so I'll see you when I'm done right-clicking. Alright, 1 stack of cobblestone, complete that quest. So this mod pack has upgraded furnaces. They go all the way up to a zenith furnace, and if memory serves me right, and I can spell, a zenith furnace cooks in 1 tick. So that's a pretty good deal. It takes a bunch of stuff to get there, but it cooks items in a single tick. It takes a nether star. That's really the hard part. But besides that, let's just move on. So the next tier furnace is an iron furnace. Unfortunately, we don't have access to iron yet. So let's see. Where do I want to go from here? I want to get automated, or I want to get a cobble farm going. So right now we have water. There's a water source block down here somewhere. I'll get to it later. So we just have to make some lava. And to make lava, I believe we need to make here. So let's make the crucible barrel and make some clay. All right, making a crucible and a barrel. Which one do you want? I think a clay barrel? A wooden barrel. And lastly, we have to make clay. So, how do I do that? Let's see. Right-click dust. So how do I feel like I'm missing something here. To make clay, I need water. One way to get water is to put out a crucible in the rain and let it fill. But I think what we want to do for now is actually use that one. So you see how we have 2 glass bottles here. I think they were from a quest reward. If we dig down to our water source and right-click it with the bottle, I think that'll pick up the water without taking the source. And then we could use that to fill, not a crucible, a barrel maybe? There we go. So we do this a few times. And now we have a barrel of water, and then we just have to put some dust in it. So let's make a hammer. That's not a hammer. That's a hammer. All right, so dust is made by taking cobble, hammering it down to clay, or sorry, to gravel, doing it again to get it sand, and doing it again to get dust. And there we go. There's our first clay, and let's do one more. All right. So to make lava, we now need to make a crucible, which I believe is made from porcelain clay, which is made from clay and we don't have another quartz, clay and bone meal. Bone meal, you say? How do I get bone meal? I could make a very basic mob farm, but I think you can give it from, yeah, you can sift dust through a string mesh or a flint mesh, get some bone meal. And I think that's a bit easier than making a mob farm right now. So, I guess we're back on the right-clicking train to get, well, where's sifters in all this then? Sifters are here, okay. So let's actually go down that quest line a little bit then. To make a sifter, we need to make string, which is from those silkworms we gathered earlier. So let's, I guess, whoops, this tree has no leaves left, and we need a tree with leaves. So let's plant a few trees. Let's do 3. And I kind of want to get big trees if possible. I wonder if that light source is, like, whatever, good enough. We have a big tree. And if we just take these silkworms we had and right-click them onto the tree leaves, they'll become infested. And if you see there in the JEI, or not the JEI, the Wayla tooltip, they slowly progress. And then when they reach 100%, they become infested leaves. So let's wait a bit for this tree to infest. And by the time that's done, we'll be able to harvest that to get more string. So to harvest it, you need to use a crook. I believe if you just break it, you don't get the string. And I think there is a compressed crook recipe. Oh, just kidding. I guess the compressed crook is only a tinker's tool. Oh, I have a bunch of crooks then. So if we look, it only took about a minute to get the whole tree. I think it's, exponential spread. Kind of like certain viruses. So, with the beauty of Vein Miner, it's quite easy to get the silk. He says as he runs out of leaves that are on ground level. He says as he runs out of crooks. Alright, good enough. Just be mindful that using Vein Miner uses up your food very quick. I think we can juice these fruits and we get slightly more food out of it. Tiny bit. But hey, food is food, right? And I think we can do it to apples too. So, alright, let's eat some food and then I'll finish cleaning up this tree. So, from that one tree, which is now gone, we got, what's this, like, we got a lot of string pretty easily. String's a pretty easy resource to come across. So let's set most of that aside for now, complete our quest. Next up, we have to make a sieve. So, a sieve and a string mesh. Now, I think there's a mod in this pack that lets you link sieves together, so let's make a handful of sieves. Let's go with 16 maybe for now. That's going to take a lot of wood, and at 1 plank per no, let's settle for 8 then. Let's make 8 string meshes, which I think is just like this. There we go. Oh, that gives me another 8 string meshes. That's what I get for not reading quest rewards. So that can be automated with a auto sifter, which I don't think was there yet. Doesn't look too bad. Yeah, some stone, some iron, and I think these electrotine, some alloys, whatever. We'll get there later. So for now, let's place these down. So again, if we put them in a, I guess if we're gonna do 8, we put them like this. I think if we, what do we have to sift? Let's make some more gravel. I think if you right-click one of them, it sifts all of them at once, which is nice. We could also make compressed embers, I hope. I might be wrong. Can you just use a normal hammer on compressed? Okay, so you can just use a normal hammer on compressed, which is probably even better than making a compressed hammer. So little things like that, I think, significantly reduce the grindiness, and it just lets you play the game instead of hitting blocks. Which, I mean, hitting blocks is... Oh, that's what I wanted, is it? I wanted gravel. Hitting blocks is half the fun of Minecraft, but for now in modded, I don't want to just sit here hitting blocks all day. So with gravel, I can... Yep. I think there's a limit. I don't know how high it is of how many blocks you can link together at once, but for now, doing 8 at a time is a good start. And this will give us some... Mostly, I guess what I'm after is flint. Although then again, I wanted bone meal as well. Let's do the 2 dust pieces we have then. And I'll have to get more cobblestone to make a little bit more dust. But let's see if we unlock the flint quest. So flint is better than string because you get more stuff out of it. Right, when you sieve, say, how do I come to this UI? Alright, so for sieving, say, sand, maybe that's a bad one. Well, these are all not terribly great examples. So for sieving dust through a string mesh, we can only get bone meal, gunpowder, and skystone dust. But if we do it through a flint mesh, we get the same as before, but we get all these extra stuff, which is good. So anyways, right-clicking time again. Be back in a bit. So I made enough gravel to upgrade our string meshes, I hope. At least I hope. That's clearly... Oh no, that is the recipe. The item's just hidden there. So the flint mesh, I guess that's why we have extras. We can now take these out and replace them with flint meshes. And this will make our sifting a bit more efficient. And I also did discover that when making flint, it's easier to... I already used it all up. But you can make flint with gravel like this, which you get 1 per 3 pieces. Whereas if you were to try to sift it, you get a much worse rate out of, at least out of a string mesh. It's still not a good rate out of a flint mesh, but I think it does go up per tier. And eventually, not only do you get flint, but you get these other useful things. So anyways, I did hear the quest complete sound. So the next mesh tier is iron. We're not ready for that yet. So let's go back to sifting some sand, or dust rather. Alright, I hope 27 dust is enough for us to get started for now. We do get a lot of resources out of this, so this will fill our inventory right up. And this is why I like having that magnetism. It keeps the stuff from, flying off the edge when your inventory is a little full. Let's make another chest. Thankfully, the chest recipe is unchanged. And I forget what version of Minecraft it was added in, but at some point you can place chests next to each other in vanilla. And alas, we cannot do that yet. So I have a feeling that wasn't enough. Because we only got... where was it? 5 pieces of bone meal out of it. But we did get a fair bit of iron, 27 iron. See how much we need to make a crucible. Porcelain clay is 1 clay and 1 bone meal. Okay, so back to right clicking. All right, here we are finishing up a little bit more dust, and hopefully this will get us to the point where we can make our crucible. So let's put this away, see what we got. 13 more bone meal, that should be enough. Combine that with our clay, which I think we can unpack like this. And there's 7 unfired porcelain clay. Let's take a look at what the quest requires. Just a normal crucible. So if we take this, we can turn it into an unfired crucible, break our furnace out. Need to make some type of fuel. I feel like this is still faster than a vanilla furnace, maybe not. But anyways, let's make some charcoal. And then we can cook our furnace. I mean, our crucible. So this furnace mod also has some other neat features. We can, if I can find them. There are furnace upgrades that can, the most important one for now anyways, would be the, well, let's just go in order. So efficiency, increases fuel efficiency, ore processing. This is the one that I want to make soon. And it's actually not that bad. It takes a piece of nether quartz, which I think you can get from sifting soul sand, and a couple pieces of glowstone and iron, and it just ore doubles out of your furnace, which is nice. Some of these are just, you know, a little bit more. You can use, instead of fuel, you can use lava or forge energy, and then that just makes it faster. And now this one is an interesting upgrade. It doubles everything. Anything you can smelt, it'll produce 2 of. And you're probably thinking, wait, can't you dupe resources that way? You know, you smelt an iron, like you smelt iron dust into 2 iron ingots, and then make them into, crush them back into 2 iron dust and smelt them into 4 iron ingots. And the answer is yes, but it's in Kappa mode, it's gated pretty late. And by pretty late, I mean very late. And by the time you have it, you have easier ways of generating resources. For most of the game, resource generation is intended to not be a huge challenge, at least not in like a conventional sense. So yes, this does break a lot of things, but it's fine. Alright, so now that we have some fuel, we can make some torches. And I think the torch will be our first, heat source to melt our crucible with. So we just put some cobblestone in it, and you see it's pretty slow. It does what, maybe like 3 or 4 millibuckets a second. So we'll have to wait for that to finish. Meanwhile, my goal is to make a cobblestone generator, which looks like we can do clay buckets, which is nice, and then that's very easy. We have to make a piece of glass and 2 clay buckets. So I'll get on that while we wait for that. And I'm also curious, what fuel sources can we use? So heat sand is pretty quick, and I think that's pretty easy to find in the nether. We have enough blaze powder. We can make a blaze mesh, 60. Alright, let's see if we have enough blaze powder yet. Oh, we don't have any. Never mind. Alright, well, we'll let that melt then while I already forgot what I was going to do. Alright, I was going to make buckets. There we go. Alright, a little bit more right click. We're almost out of the right click dirt phase. So clay buckets are just, at least I think, they're just a regular bucket recipe. And the only difference is that when you use them to transport hot liquids, such as lava, they get consumed. But they're reusable for transporting normal liquids, like water. So once you make a clay bucket, here's one. I think we can now effectively make an infinite water spring. So if I fill this with water, I can get 1 bucket of it. Let's find a place to put this as well. I'm gonna have to reorganize our base at some point, but for now, oops, I'll just band it out. When building in Skyblocks, I like to build chunk aligned. So if you press F9 a few times, you can see the chunk borders. And I like to build stuff chunk aligned just for performance reasons. And I believe the late game of this pack will be a little bit, performance crunchy as well. So it's good to have performance on your mind early. So how does this work? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh! Well, that was a lucky fall. Let's not do that again. I'm quite fortunate that that route was there. I think at least this pack used to have a mod where if you fell through, you don't die in the void. You get teleported to the nether or something, but that might have also been removed. I don't know. Anyways, now that we got our almost fall to our death out of the way, let's make our infinite water spring so we can now like that, and that makes an infinite water spring, and we can restore the source block there. Alright, cool. So our lava is almost done. We have 700, let's get rid of this as well, 790 millibuckets. When that finishes, let's see what else will we need. We need 1 more piece of gravel, or cobble. Hopefully the last right clicking we do. And we need a drawer. I hope drawers have normal recipes. They do. So the drawer would just be what holds our cobblestone. So almost there. And apparently that was a quest. Would you look at that? We'll come back to that. Still in alpha. The cobblestone generators can be upgraded, and let's actually prepare to do that because the first cobblestone generator is a little slow. So if we take these iron ore pieces, we can make them into iron ore chunks, and I don't think we can crush these with a hammer to double them, at least not for now. What is this? Interesting. Oh, cool. So these seeds have recipes now. I like that. You don't have to breed them through the very painful, crossbreeding methods. So let's cook that into iron ingots for now. So close. So close. And once we have iron meshes, we can make the 30x heat melter, which will be much faster. So our cobblestone generator. Oh, how is this for? Oh, this is a much harder recipe. All right, let's start with this then. The tiny progressions cobblestone generator. So you see that I think it'll use up our lava bucket, but it'll give us our water bucket back. Yep. All right, and as you see here, it produces 1 cobblestone every 2 seconds, which I mean is slow, but it's automated, right? It just does it. So that's nice. Put that there. If I put a drawer above it, I think it auto pushes up. And there we go, cobblestone. No more need to right click. But what we can do is when we get, I think it's 8. Oh, blocks of iron. Oh, never mind. That doubles the rate. So I'll probably just make a second one then for now, just because we might have to use, we might use cobblestone a little faster than this thing can produce it. So what should we do next? Let's take a look at some quests. We can make bonsai pots for tree automation. How is hopping bonsai? Just a regular recipe. Hoppers. Okay, let's do this. Hopping bonsais are just a way to automate tree growth. So since that looks easy enough, let's do it. Let's make just a handful of these. here we go. So first we make the regular bonsai pot, and then we can make a hopper. And remember earlier when I said that resource generation in this pack is pretty easy? I really mean it. From the very get-go, you get these excellent tools that make it very easy to produce resources. And it's not like growing trees was particularly hard, right? All you had to do was plant a bunch of it and then spam shift for a couple seconds and then vein mine them. But the fact that, even such a simple task is made even simpler so early on in the pack is what really makes me enjoy this. So let's make another chest. And I think the way this works is the hopping bonsai automatically exports to a chest beneath it. So where should we put this? Space is kind of a mess. I think between episodes I'll take a couple seconds just to, reorganize a little bit. And it needs a piece of dirt and a sapling. So if you look at that, it'll just automatically grow the tree, and when it gets to 100%, it should spit out like a sapling and a wood and maybe a stick or something to the chest beneath. Neat. And I doubt I had the item in my hand long enough to complete the quest, so I'll have to make another one to complete that quest. Make one more just for the quest, and then maybe we can wrap up this episode here. I think we got some pretty good progress done, especially for this being, episode 1 after all. So there's our bonsai pot. Again, between episodes, I'll clean up our base a little bit so that it looks at least a little presentable and I have some space. I'll probably expand out a bit. But let's take a look. In the, I don't know how long it's been, a couple minutes, right, since I planted the first tree, we now have 12 wood, a bunch of apples that'll provide our food, and I believe there's a chance for this to very slowly produce saplings as well. Let's actually take a look at the recipes. Since I think we can use it to grow all kinds of trees. Basically any type of sapling can be grown in here. Just like even these exotic slime saplings. I'm just looking for, is there a way for me to grow string? Can I grow like an infested tree somehow? There's spider web sapling. I guess that's what I... Okay. I guess I'll set up our second one to grow that. And then we'll call it a day there. So if memory serves me right, the recipe was 3 string and a sapling. All right, there we go. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope you guys will have as much fun watching the series as I will definitely have playing it. So I'm definitely looking forward to where this series will go. But yeah, that's it for today. If you have any feedback, suggestions, etc., feel free to yell at me in the comments, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.